It's been 6.5 years since 20-year-old DJ Henry of Easton, a junior football player at Pace University, was shot and killed by a police officer in Mount Pleasant, New York. For those who don't know the story, DJ was outside a bar waiting for a friend when he thought police officer Aaron Hess told him to move his car. As he did, Hess jumped on the car and fired through the windshield at DJ, who later died. Police claimed DJ had tried to run over Hess, but other witnesses claimed DJ was just following instructions. After that, again, according to witnesses, DJ was handcuffed and left to die face down on the sidewalk. 4 months later, a grand jury declined to indict Hess for murder. And 2 months after that, Officer Hess was named Policeman of the Year in Pleasantville for his, quote, dignity and professionalism. Right after the 2-year anniversary of DJ's death in 2012, another officer was at the scene, admitted in a deposition that he fired his weapon at Hess that night because he thought Hess was the aggressor. But that officer was never called to testify before the grand jury. Then in March of last year, the Henry family reached a settlement with the village of Pleasantville and Aaron Hess, who admitted no wrongdoing. This week, a final settlement was reached, and the town apologized, saying in a statement the town regrets any statements made on its behalf in the immediate aftermath of the incident. Before the events of October 17, 2010 were fully investigated, the town understands that statements made by its officials in the hours after the incident caused additional pain to the Henry family at a most difficult time, and regrets the suffering and misimpression of their son, DJ Henry, that those statements caused or may have caused. DJ's parents, Dan and Angela Henry, who in the interim set up the DJ Henry Dream Fund in his memory, which we'll talk about, join me now. Good to see you, Angela and Dan. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Why did getting an apology matter so much to you, Angela?
Because in the initial days and weeks and months, they said some horrible things about our son that we knew were not true. They said that he was trying to run officers over, that he wasn't following instructions, and we wanted them to apologize publicly because of those things that they said about him.
And you're nodding in agreement, Dan, but when they apologized for the aftermath, they didn't apologize for the underlying act, which took your son's life. No one has taken responsibility or admitted wrongdoing in that situation. Is that not a door that needed opening and then closing, or is this okay?
Well, we never expected to get an apology from Aaron Hess. The facts themselves give us great comfort that we understand that it was not a lawful use of deadly force, making it by definition in the law a murder. We got that. What we didn't then get, though, was an apology for, as Angela says, this character assassination that occurred in an attempt just to make the record what they needed it to be, not really what it was.
And litigation's over now. I mean, is that fact in and of itself, in addition to the apology, which obviously meant a lot to both of you, and I assume your kids as well. I read a Facebook posting you did of your daughter, Amber. Does the ending of litigation itself, so that's all tied up, even if it isn't the way you want it all along, is that of some comfort, or does that not really matter?
I think it'll be comforting eventually, but I think we're still in the midst of all of this, that we haven't had a chance to catch our breath and really exhale and say, okay, now we can have some time to grieve. But I think it will be eventually. Well,
this probably answers then, Dan, where I'm going. You know, one of the words I hate most in the English language, I'm going to direct at you, and you're going to say, well, then why are you using it? Right. People say to those who have suffered the most unimaginable loss, did this bring closure? Does anything ever bring closure, whether it's a multi-million-dollar settlement, whether it's an apology? Does anything bring any level of closure for you, or?
No, I mean, you can't. We'll never be the same. We'll never close the wound that is the loss of our son. We'll keep living in the moments as they come. We won't go on. Life doesn't just go on. It just keeps coming at you. And we're resolved to live sort of in those moments as those moments present themselves.
How do you live in those moments? I mean, how do you, every time I see a picture of your kid, I've said this to you both before, I feel through you two and the wonderful work you've done, we'll get to the Dream Fund in a minute, that I knew your son, which I sadly did not. But how do you get through those days?
I think leaning on our faith daily, trying to make sure that we still have moments where we laugh, and Amber and Kyle are so important to us, and we want them to have moments with us where we're just having great family time and celebrating them and all the milestones that they've had so far. You know, Amber's graduating soon, and Kyle's been so successful in the things that he's taking on, and we want to make sure that in those moments we celebrate those. Those are important, and we don't want them to ever feel slighted. So that's why.
Dan, Aaron Hess was white. In all the years I've been talking to you, you've never brought up the issue of race in this situation, and obviously things changed a lot in this country in the intervening years. Was that has that been a conscious decision of both of you?
Well, our conscious decision was to pursue the absolute truth. And that was to draw fact-based conclusions. And frankly, as I've said before, the use of deadly force is an important tool for law enforcement. It must be done lawfully. If it's not, then it's murder. And so we just pursued that question. And that was the only question. And the conclusion was that it wasn't done lawfully. And so why he did it, all of that's speculation. Maybe it adds to the narrative, but it doesn't really change the facts. It was indefensible because it wasn't allowed under law.
But I understand you want to separate facts from speculation, but in the privacy of your lives, is that part of your speculation?
It really hasn't been, Jim, because he claimed he couldn't see into the car. He claimed he didn't see who got into the car. And so arguing that point with him about whether or not he's a racist or really doesn't change the fact that we still needed to get the fundamental question answered about whether what he did was lawful or not lawful. And so we pursued that narrow question rather than the broader ones.
You've been some people criticize you for exactly that, but you're comfortable, though, with the position that Dan just articulated, yes?
I am. We are, absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about what you've done in your kid's name, this DJ Dream Fund. Tell us a little bit about the work that it has been doing for all these years.
Yeah, it's been so rewarding. We started in 2011, and in our first year, we were just getting our feet wet, trying to spread the word about the great work that we're doing, and weren't able to reach as many kids as we would have liked. But to date, we've reached about 7,000 children. Through about 80 communities throughout Massachusetts. And the scholarships range anywhere from $50 to $500. And the letters that we receive from the parents, thanking us are just so rewarding. And they recognize, their children know who DJ was. And that comes back to us as them saying, I want to work hard like he did. And that's so rewarding.
Would DJ have been into that? Was this the kind of thing your kid would have been into?
It was his idea.
It was his idea?
We found out it was his idea. He was doing this without calling it this. And the reason we created this foundation was because of the stories we heard about DJ meeting people at their critical points of need and helping to solve their need. Not judging them, not thinking they're needy. They were just in need, and if he could figure out how to help them at the point of need, he would. And that's what we try to do for kids who are getting shut out because their parents can't pay for them to participate in activities.
I thought this was good before. You just made it even better. Dan, it's good to see you.
Thank you so much. Great to see you as well.
Jim, can I just take a quick moment and thank every person that ever sent us a card, flowers, a message. None of that went unnoticed, so we want them to know how much we appreciate them.
Well, can I take a minute on their behalf and thank both of you and your kids for the incredible work you've done in DJ's name.
Thank you.
Good to see you both.
So much.
Dan and Angela Henry. I appreciate it.